allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Oh, somebody want to make a motion to approve the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Who seconded it?
John?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Approval of August regular meeting minutes?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Approval to pay the bills?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Do roll call vote?
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mr. Carr,
Yes.
Mr. Gentry,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
Can we find out how much the bills were?
$348,000, $348,078.50. That does include paying off Morris Excavating, because we had to turn in our last draw, because the cutoff date is, what's the date today? The 19th, the cutoff date is tomorrow, or else we wouldn't have got our money back for anything. Yeah, for the demo grant, sorry. Old business JPR water improvement project updates. They're not here. I've got just a little bit, short and sweet. We did get the grant. I can't remember if this came up last month. We did get all the signatures and stuff for the PFAS area. And then also, I don't know how much everybody remembers, we received $1.2 million in a grant from the state, free and clear, for lead and copper lines. We just last week got another $3 million for the same thing to help replace lead and copper lines. Wow, so we should hear more about that here pretty shortly. That's gonna start in the spring, actually. New business, so it's that time of the year. We do this every year since it's got put in place. We gotta go through and have a public hearing for the SADs, the Special Assessment Districts, for the fire and ambulance, and then the police. We've got to do it in two different ones. There is no raises on the taxes. It's just the same. It's just you gotta reapprove it. So at this time, at 5:32, we are going to, I'm just gonna read it from this paper so it's just right. The next item on the agenda is the hearing for the special assessment roll for the Village of White Pigeon wide fire and ambulance special assessment district. The assessor has prepared a roll assessing 2 mills on the taxable property within the Village of White Pigeon, and it has been available for review and is reviewed for tonight. Notice that this hearing was published on August 14th and August 21st, 2024 in the Sturgis Journal. The purpose of this hearing is to consider whether there are objections to the roll, if you feel that you have property has been included and should not be, or if you find that there is a miscalculation. Please address that with the council. I will now open a public hearing on the roll. Please stand, identify your property, and give us your comments. At this time, at 5:32, we'll open up the public hearing for public comments on the Village of White Pigeon wide fire and ambulance special assessment district. Go
I
ahead,
just
Paige.
have a comment on that. So I was looking at my taxes, cause we pay winter to the township, we also pay a summer tax to the township and the village. So why is the township in the summer taking the police and fire, and then apparently we're also getting it taken out of our village taxes as well? So I wanna know that
It
answer.
doesn't come out of any village taxes, it comes out of township taxes. It comes on your township tax bill because the statute that this was created under only allows the township to collect. So the township collects for the village and then disperses it back to us.
But we pay the township for the fire and ambulance as well.
There's a voted in millage that offsets this cost. It expires this year. So next year we will probably have to raise this one to offset that cost. That's a voted in millage. This is a council decided special assessment.
So
If
what,
that makes
why do we
sense.
have a special assessment if we're already paying taxes on it?
Cause it's not enough to cover the ambulance.
Anything Anything else, Paige?
No.
Anybody else have anything from the public? Okay, at this time, at 5:34, we'll close the public comment of the special assessment district. No objection. Does anybody from the council have anything to say about this? Good, bad, indifferent?
It'd just be interesting to look over the last 3 years and see what's happened to the cost of the ambulance service.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you need to change it, but be aware of.
I tell you what's going up. I'm not gonna have the exact totals, but they're working on the budget for next year now. They should have that done in the next couple of months. And as soon as I get that budget, I can bring it in and let you see it. I don't have that copy of it yet.
Currently, we're farming it out to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And is there at any point in the next 5 years where we should bring that in-house?
No.
Okay.
That's cost really.
Okay.
Constantine's trying to.
I don't remember, I'm having a brain fart. What do we pay per year right now? Maybe some of you guys know too.
I don't know what
It's like $7,000 a quarter.
So, okay. That
But
per
we
You
have-
year?
can't do it for that. I thought it was closer to 50.
Oh, you'd be up
But
close
we
to $1
have-
million per year.
The
for that.
ambulance contract is into that too.
Mhm.
I mean, fire contract.
Yes, this covers the fire, which is, I know that's 50,000 per year and whatnot, so. Any more questions, comments, or concerns from the council?
So 50 covers fire department and fire. and
No,
ambulance.
just the cost of fire coverage is 50,000.
Gotcha,
That
okay.
would pay for the township.
Gotcha.
And that's what Montville pays, is 50,000. That's been 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years. Okay, so now, do we have a motion to approve this?
I'll make the motion.
Dan, seconded by,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I think we should roll call. Yeah.
She gets, the attorney had just go all in favor.
It's a roll call on the resolution.
But, I mean, either way, you'll be safe.
Okay, we'll do roll call.
Mr. Kirschner,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yeah.
Mr. Gentry.
Yes.
Mr. Carr.
Yes.
Mr. Hofstadter.
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the hearing on the special assessment roll for the Village of White Pigeon Wide Police Special Assessment District. The assessor has approved a roll assessing 3 mills on all taxable property within the village, and it has been available for review and is available for review tonight. Notice of this hearing was published on August 14th and on August 21st, 2024 in the Sturgis Journal. The purpose of this hearing is to consider whether there are objections to the roll. If you feel that your property has been included and should not be, or if you find that there is a miscalculation, please address that with the council. I will now open a public hearing on the roll. Please stand, identify your property, and give us your comments. We'll now at 5:37 open up the public comment portion of this special assessment district. Go ahead.
At the last couple of times we've done this, Burgoyne, he's not in here, has mentioned that he's been under budget for the last couple of years. Why can't that be lowered? Because there's a lot of people moving out of the village of White Pigeon because they can't afford their taxes. So
Yep.
why can't that be lowered rather than staying where it is if he's continuously under budget?
And I know he won't be under budget this year.
But where did the money go from him being under budget for the last couple of years? Why doesn't that roll over?
Into the,
Yes.
it goes back into the general fund.
But if there's a special assessment for it, doesn't have to stay in the police budget?
Yep,
So why does it roll into the general fund if it's for the police department?
because it don't carry over from year to year. Like, if he has $50,000 from 24 to 25, when that switches over to the 25 to 26, he don't get an additional $50,000.
Okay,
Is that what you're saying, basically?
yeah, because
Yeah, that
like,
don't-
that's where the issue lies, is when I notice there's 2 cops in 1 car, and we only have 4 cops, why can't that be rotated to 1 cop being first shift, 1 cop being second, and like rotating that way, 1 being on 3rd shift? So if we're paying the 3 mills on our taxes, why can't that be rotated so there's a cop on each shift. Other than 2 cops in 1 car.
There might be a reserve officer, but there's not 2 cops in 1 car. Right now, the only shift, there's 2 officers on, is the day shift with me on days and Officer Brandon bring it to schools. So if you see another police officer in the car, it's a reserve officer who rides for free.
Okay.
All right.
I just wanna say too, what we collect on the roll is only $109,000,
$109,378.93.
and their budget's over $300,000. So we're only offsetting their budget. We're not taking in enough money to even cover their budget. So all of the money that we collect is being used.
That's it.
Anybody else have anything from the public? Go ahead.
Yeah. My name is Craig Stiver. I guess I'd like to see some kind of review or audit of how the money was spent last year. And if there's gonna be a proposed budget for this year's assessment, or just roll it over. Last year, there was no discussion amongst the board at all, just a vote, come up, approve it. That's all was said. There should be a review to see if the money was spent, and if it's still needed, that rate could be adjusted up or down by law. I looked at the 24-25 proposed budget, I see no mention of the funds. But if the funds are put in the general fund and used for something else, that seems to be going against what the special assessment's for. If village wants to raise taxes, they can do so, but they do it with a millage vote. You know, that's where the money goes into the general fund. Personally, my taxes have gone up since I've lived there since 2019, over $2,000. And it's like Paige said, that's getting kind of tough on people, you know. You wanna see growth, that's not the way to do it, is to keep raising taxes and funds. As far as the police goes too, you know, we do have county and state police coverage for the village also. I was raised in a town smaller than this, and I remember there's a big difference in things you really need and things you really have to, that you want to look like the big guys.
So our yearly audit that we get makes sure that everything from these 2 tax rolls gets spent on this stuff or goes into that budget line. So we're not, you know, say we're $2,000 to you, Craig Stiver, every year on your taxes for between the 2, that we're not going out and buying the DPW new backhoe or nothing with that. So that our yearly audit that then gets turned into the state says that we're spending that money on that.
Who could see that yearly audit?
Everybody.
It's online.
It's online. I think
I haven't seen
I'll
it.
send you the link for it.
it's on the state's website and it's several places. And it's always available here too.
Okay.
When we go over the audit in this meeting.
So just to clarify what Paige said, so if you take in 109,000 and you spend 100,000 for the year, that 9,000 reverts to the general fund anyhow?
But we take in 109,000 for the police side of the SAD.
Mm-hmm.
Our budget for the police is like 340,000, so that's only just under a third of what it actually costs to have the police department.
Well, it was 300,000 before you had the special assessment too.
Just offsetting.
It's just helping offset the budget, helping offset their budget so we can use put that money back into the general fund to help cover everything. Does anybody else from the public have anything? Okay, we'll close the public portion at 5:43. Does anybody from the council have any questions, comments, concerns over this? Dan? Mel? John?
How much money is left over every year that you don't spend that you could spend, you know?
It varies from year to year. So, I mean, I don't know what it was last year.
We're doing
But,
it right now, so I don't even,
yeah,
it's really minimal. But
So
some years, it's more than others,
Right,
because
yeah.
like
I mean,
salaries, he had somebody quit last year, so her whole salary was freed up.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's pretty tight, but usually he's really
to approve. Again, this is not raising what is currently there, it's just reaffirming what we currently have in place. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
John, need a second?
I'll second.
Jeff, roll call vote?
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Wacker?
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, Bill's got out of the way. Oh, jump around here real quick. Ken, do you have anything on the JPR water improvement project?
Yeah, thanks for, just give me a few minutes, I just stopped by, I wanted to give you an update. So, project plans are nearing completion, we're updating current budget, and we should be, issuing constructability review plans, within the next 30 days. And that is for the overall water project, including the water tower, the new well system, the new network improvements. So that project is well underway to hit our goal for bidding, either at the end of this year or the beginning of 2025, construction spring of 2025. We still have, a pending,
Can you hold on a second? I'm half deaf and I can't hear what somebody's going, not on vibrate. Thank you.
I have the same problem, so.
I forget too.
But anyway, so we still have a pending agreement with the USDA for a long-term low-interest loan to support the project. And we still are making good headway with them. So permits, updated budget, and the constructability review this fall. Bidding probably towards the end of the year or into the early part of 25. Construction in spring of 25. The CR2 plan project is making the design for the PFAS contamination area is fully underway. We should have plans, preliminary plans for council review or staff review here in the next probably 30 days or less. So we're gonna be right on target for qualifying for those funds, keeping that village qualified for those funds, helping the township solve that contamination issue.
Mhm.
So, we do know now that you have, they've changed representation at Baker Tilly for your fiscal advisor.
Mhm.
So, within that, probably the next 30 days, we would like to convene a session with those members of the council that are interested in Baker Tilly to kind of review their budget, making sure that they have an opportunity to go back through their rate impact analysis, and so we can give you an update on all of that, probably within the next 30 days. So things are going well. And if, at any point in time, if any of the council members want to sit down and have a review of those plans, we can go through them street by street, wherever is your preferred method for doing that. So, but we're making good progress, so.
A while ago, I wanna say it was last year or the year before, I wasn't able to come, but I think you were here for it. When Steve Carr came here, you had mentioned something about the state of Michigan gets so many federal dollars per year, and then it is divided up to different quarters or whatever, to where he himself could, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What is that exactly called again?
Well,
Push it again.
it's a.
The guy don't do nothing
It's
for
a
anybody else.
discretionary fund. We have made it known to the state of Michigan legislators, your legislators, that you are in need of any funds, anything that they could do to help you. And I haven't spoken with him for quite some time, so it's probably an update with him.
Mhm.
Also, beginning of this year, prior to the federal budgeting process, we made direct application through both of your federal legislators relative to congressionally directed spending, which is basically, I guess you could call it a couple different things: earmarks, special projects program, And, you know, and just so you understand, we're doing that because we're hoping that, some of those elected officials will understand the need for the village, to go forward with their water project, but also to try to do it with whatever subsidization that we can garner. One of the things that is true about the village, even though, we have a very significant need on the water side, we have a very difficult time qualifying you for low interest, funds just because of your income demographic. You're just over the threshold that kind of keeps you out of the grant, eligibility area. USDA, when they were well funded, had a program, and I think they still have this policy where if you have an rate increase that's significant, for customers that are, you know, accustomed to paying a lower rate, they used to say that anything more than 2% of a homeowner's income was, reason enough to consider eligibility for subsidization. They no longer, even though they haven't eliminated that program, they no longer fund that program. So what we're hearing from USDA is their ability to help us with subsidization is pretty much evaporated. So, not that we won't keep asking, because we certainly will, but, the congressionally directed spending is something that we're being encouraged to do. For those of you that aren't aware, the legislators actually have annually, they open up a portal on their website. Each one of them have a website. And that portal is for the local communities and other organizations to make direct requests to that elected official for for discretionary spending from the federal budget. So we'll do that again this year, but you know, we were told last year, make an application if the project is valuable enough and we hear enough from people locally that the need is there, we'll try to do whatever we can to help you. So right now, I think your project is pegged at around $12 million, so that's a big number for a small village. So anything that we can do to buy that cost down needs to happen. So the other thing that we'd like to do with council members, and whether you want to like set up a working group, is at some point in time, especially after we bring in your new representative from Baker Tilly, go back through the rate impacts again and decide whether there is any logic to breaking the project down into smaller parts. But by the way, we are planning to do that anyway relative to the project as a whole, because we would like to be able to open it up to smaller, to a greater group of contractors. So we will likely have up to 4 contracts that we will be bidding. One for the water tower and the well field, the water tower maintenance project and the improvements at the well field, and then probably 3 in the distribution system. And the goal is to try to get those projects down so as a contractor that has maybe a more of a modest ability to bond a public works project would have the ability to bid, and therefore we get a greater group of bidders. So, you know, like say for instance, Niblock, who built the last project and has been working on the service lead improvements. They are a big company and they can bid a project like at $12 million without blinking an eye, because they can bond it. They have to be able to bond it. That means they have to have credit and financial statement that says they have the ability to do that. But at that number, it also rules out smaller contractors that maybe could fit within the category of a $3.5 or $4 million project much easier. So the goal would be to break that down, offer a broader group of contracts, and then invite as many contractors as we can get to look at the project. We are hearing things in the market where we're seeing the price of some of those unit prices for some of those materials are beginning to taper off and come down a little bit. That'll help us. How much we're not sure. And of course, we're looking for savings in every part of the project that we can look at, including trying to find you maybe a little bit of pavement grant money where we can cut the cost of the project by putting some alternative funding into restoration of streets, that kind of thing. So, everything we can do, we're gonna do. So, but project is moving along, and again, I think it would be appropriate at some point in time to schedule a couple of work sessions with the council, just to go through project details, answer questions, again, maybe look at how we might consider dividing the project up in smaller bites. And by the way, you have the ability to do that. I mean, if you choose to, you could partition the project down and do it in, sequences. The only thing you lose there is maybe the economies of scale of issuing one bond or, completing one loan closing, where you may have to do more than that. In the case where we would have several contracts bid at the same time, we would still do that under one bond and one closing. But again, as many valuable options that we can look at, we're looking at, so.
Anything else?
No, that's good. I'm glad to answer any questions the council members might have. And I'm available. I'm gonna try to trade off representation of the project with the other staff members. I haven't seen you guys in a while, so I thought it'd be a good chance for me to get up and visit with you a little bit, so.
Well, thanks for coming. You're more than welcome to stay, and
I
won't be hurt.
I would love to, but you have, the number of meetings I go to and the councils, I mean.
Your wife would probably like it if you went home too.
So, all right.
Well, thank you for
Thank
coming.
you very much.
Excuse me, I missed your name,
Ken Jones.
and you're with,
I'm with JPR. I'm the CEO.
okay, thank you.
All right, you bet. All right, take care.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Have a good night. Item C under new business is the franchise and interlocal agreement between the White Pigeon Township and Village of White Pigeon. That is right here. This is for the area of the PFAS in the village, or the extension of the water main in the PFAS area. All this is doing is just saying that it's giving us permission to go work in the township and whatnot. It's been reviewed by 2 attorneys, and it's good for 10 years, and then it'll just have to be reaffirmed at the end of 10 years from the signed date, which maybe will be tonight, maybe not. We've got one with Mottville currently. We've had one with them for years. We have water in Mottville Township at several places, and then we do have water in the township as well too, but we need to redo it to be able to go down and do this. Does somebody want to make a motion to approve the franchise agreement?
I'll make that.
Al, need a second?
I'll second.
We'll do roll call on this,
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Wag?
yes. Okay. Oh, Bill's gonna do most of this one here. He was working on, open burn ordinance amendment for campfire.
There it is.
We don't have an ordinance for campfires. The only place that even mentions it is under exemptions is under the lake dump area. So I created a campfire ordinance, that basically tells what a campfire is for one, and how they can use them. I think it's the same one I passed out,
Last month.
a few months ago, to see if you guys had any changes or wanted any changes,
Mhm.
so I hadn't heard back from anybody, so, if you guys have your packet again, look it over real quick, if you have any changes or have any concerns, let us know. If not, I'd like to go ahead and pass that, so these campfires don't become a nuisance to neighbors and
Yeah.
people in the neighborhood.
I'm gonna do it right now. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah.
What do you got?
A campfire is just a campfire. I mean, you're just burning
would, you know, like it would if you were camping.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only problem we have is when we have people burning stuff that's not supposed to be in that campfire.
Sometimes too, you know, it could be wet wood, you know, or wet pine, stuff like that, that creates a lot of smoke, which is addressed in this ordinance.
Well, yeah, but a lot of what we've been smelling has been pretty fun.
Yeah. But hopefully this ordinance will give us a little bit of authority to do something about it.
Okay.
So on the, right here in the first part, right here, it says household refuse. I'm gonna read the definition. Household refuse refers to all waste that comes from a household, such as used paper, empty containers, and food waste. So it's not necessarily stuff out in the garden, it's stuff.
That's under the open burn, that's what the current open burn policy right now, that's not in the campfire policy.
Okay, gotcha.
So somebody could go out and burn their paper plates and paper towel, according to our open burn ordinance. They can't burn garbage and food or anything that's not plastic. Campfire, they can't burn any of that stuff, that it's gotta be wood, that's for campfire.
Now, if you got a fine.
It's gonna be an attachment to the open burn policy,
Okay.
which is, there's already fines established.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the, behind the first page.
Yeah.
I've got two ideas. One, if it's foggy outside, don't light a fire, because it ain't gonna go anywhere. And the second thing is, if you're gonna do it, don't do it on a regular scheduled basis where it becomes a nuisance. And I don't know how you, yeah, I.
What's a regular scheduled basis?
Burning garbage every week.
Yeah, I understand that.
You know.
So does anybody wanna make a motion, if there's no objection to this, adding in the campfire section into the ordinance?
I'll make the motion, it's just defining a campfire.
I'll second it. Roll call vote.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Wade?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, public comment section. We got anybody from the public that would like to speak or say anything? Go, Craig had his hand up, so you.
I'm sorry, could you read that resolution you just passed so we know what it says?
Do a drink here, it's kinda long.
Just read, just the addendum part.
Okay, yeah, it's just adding, because we don't have nothing in our ordinance that says what a campfire is. This is all it says, so. Okay, campfire. A campfire shall be fueled with clean, seasoned wood, natural gas, other cleaning, burning fuel with those with emissions that are equal to or lower than those created with the burning of seasoned firewood. A campfire shall not be used for waste disposal purposes and have a total fuel area of not more than 3 feet in diameter and no higher than 2 feet. Campfires shall not occur during periods of high humidity or high wind. Campfires shall take place in a well-ventilated area, but not a burn barrel. That is a minimum of 15 foot from any structure, fence, shrub, or other burnable items, and the burning shall be permitted only on the ground and shall not be conducted in a fashion so as to prevent embers and burning material from escaping. All campfires shall take place at least 30 feet inside the property boundary. Campfires shall take place only under the direct supervision of the owner of the property and shall not be left unattended. The property owner shall be responsible for any cost of fire suppression and or property damage. No person shall burn any items which smolder or create odors that would be offensive to a reasonable person. Right of entry and inspection, a police officer, fire chief, or any authorized officer, agent, employee, or representative of the Village of White Pigeon may inspect any property for the purpose of ascertaining compliance with the provisions of this ordinance. A campfire does not require a permit, provided that the fire complies with all other applicable provisions of this ordinance and state burn ban. All open burning, to include campfires, are prohibited on commercial and industrial sites and on multiple family residential properties.
Thank you.
Anything else, Greg?
No.
He had his hand up before you did it. Go ahead, sir. What's your name?
My name is John Knighton. I live at 315 East Michigan Avenue. And I need some clarification on disturbing the peace ordinance. that I was told that White Pigeon Village didn't have a disturbance ordinance, but I found online ordinance number 170621. And in the definitions of that, which are 80.001, a person is responsible for the civil infraction of disturbing the peace if they shall engage in any of the following. And I refer to B, causing alarm or disturbing another person. I have obviously been disturbed. I've called the police twice. I've talked to the neighbor twice. And I am away from work right now. So obviously there's a problem. The other definition is H, engaging in unnecessarily loud or bombastic conduct. I'm talking about loud. I'm talking about so loud that when I'm in my house, windows and doors closed, I can hear the lyrics of the music. I can't go outside on my deck and drink coffee or drink an iced tea. I can't go out on the back porch of my garage. It is unreasonably loud. I've asked him, can you turn it down? And I got a smart alecky no. And there will be music, is what I've been told. This happens 4 to 5 days a week. This isn't a one-off. This is 4 or 5 days a week. Different days, might be a Saturday, might be a Sunday, any day during the week. And we need to head it off because when Pioneer's done with harvest, my wife and I go to we go to 24/7 schedule. We work the PM, that is 6 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. We get to bed by 8. We're going to be sleeping right through the prime rock and roll hour, and I'm not going to be able to deal with it.
So this is happening midday anyway?
This is happening constantly. This is happening 4 to 5 days a week.
What's the time? That's what I'm asking.
Right now, it's between noon and 2,
Okay.
or 2:30, or it's at 5. There's a second, I'm not sure, I think it's a female, somebody with red hair, who may work out on their own and does the same thing for another hour and a half or 2 hours. That can be at 5 to 6:30 at night. So on weekends, it's right in the middle of the afternoon when I would like to be on my back porch. I have music on my back porch that I play that probably no other neighbor knows it's even on. But when this music starts intruding, it's like competing radios. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a job site where the carpenters have one radio and the electricians have a different radio station, and you're trying to figure that out. That's what's going on. So this is aimed directly at my house. I mean, it comes out of his garage blaring. I can't. You're going, yeah, you don't know how loud this is.
So I'm gonna let Bill elaborate too. I know this was coming. I rode my bicycle by the one day when I knew that he was home and working out in his garage. I was on your side of the road going north along your property line, and I could barely hear it. I'm just that. But
you could barely hear it?
Yeah. I'm just saying that was that one instance. I'll let Bill elaborate from there.
But when I came and talked to you that one night, I stopped, at Vermont and, the alley there at Glenwood.
Yep.
And I couldn't hear it until I got just past, it would have to be the house north of them. And then I could hear it. The issue we're having is he's got his garage door open, and their houses are only, you think, 15 yards apart, I mean, across the alley. So, I mean, I don't know, with the ordinances that he just specified,
Yeah, I wrote it down here, so I put it.
I mean, although he thinks it's loud, it's kind of subjective. He says that he thinks it's loud, but other people may not think it's loud.
Mhm.
So, how do you enforce that?
Get a decibel.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
okay,
That's-
here's what we do. You be on call, or you be ready, so I don't have to go through central dispatch to get a hold of you. I'd rather just be able to call you and get a hold of you.
Okay.
And then you park on Michigan far enough west so he doesn't see your car. Come to my front door and we'll walk through my house out onto the back deck. And then you tell me if it's loud or not.
Is this East Michigan?
This is,
Yes.
I'm taking offense for you to say you couldn't hear it. If you can't hear it, you're deafer than I am.
I didn't say I couldn't hear it, first off. I said I didn't hear it that loud as yours, like it's at a concert. I did hear it, yes, but to me, that'd be, your lawnmower makes too much noise.
A lawnmower is used for an hour
I'm using
a
it.
week.
Okay.
And we're required. This says unnecessarily. A lawnmower is necessary because there's a village ordinance that says if you don't mow your lawn, you're gonna come do it for me. So I have to do my lawnmower. I get that.
Mhm.
I'm not complaining about lawnmower noise. I'm complaining about a mosh pit. Some of the music that is played is in tongues. I mean, it is
So is it
just
the
offensive music to begin
Is it
with.
the volume or the content, the lyric?
The volume is enormously loud. Do I need to get a dosimeter from work and log it before you'll do something about it? Is that what I need to know the rules. It sounds like we're trying to make an excuse.
Sir,
Is the rules, can I have that loud of music at 5 in the morning? Can I have that loud of music at midnight? What's the rules?
You should document it too, sir, so that way you have a video that might help a little bit, so you can see how loud
You need
it
a
is.
decibel meter.
when I was over there last time, I tried to come up with a reasonable volume, because he had to go to work, so he just left it. And the time was
Well,
pretty
that's
fast.
what I've been doing
But-
since he came. When it starts, I just leave for work. I can't deal with it. So I go to work. One day I went down and sat in the cemetery for a half hour and then went to work. Just to get away. Just to get out of my own neighborhood. And you guys think this is acceptable?
Well, this is the first we're hearing about it.
No.
Well, the thing is, but according to the ordinance, how do we, just because I think Jeff plays his music too loud, you can't go and write him a ticket for that.
Maybe go talk to the homeowner,
I
like
did.
Bill go and talk to the.
I did go talk to the homeowner, and that's.
And as soon as his police car is out of sight, here comes the volume, right back. So that doesn't work.
I think the thing is being respectful to your
There is
neighbor.
no respect. There is no respect. They raised poorly. Kid's got no respect.
Can I get your phone number?
He's entitled. Just ask him, he'll tell you.
You don't have to say it out loud, but could you write your phone number down here, please?
gotta tie the volume to a number, not a subjective, I don't like it, or it's too loud for me. You gotta have a number, 60 decibels, 65, that's not.
Did you say that there's something in the ordinance that you can?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, there ain't nothing in there.
Well, I'm saying the ordinance says, or disturbing another person. It's disturbing me.
Okay. We'll do some talking, see if we can get something figured out on this. I'll stop by your neighbors, see if I can try to incognito get by there and catch it loud and all that stuff too. Like I said, I just walked by the one time, I could hear it, but it wasn't nothing obnoxious. It was 1:30 in the afternoon. It wasn't at midnight, 5 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that. It was 1:30.
Well, I'm just trying to get the rules straight. I mean, if you guys aren't gonna do anything, and it becomes a pissing contest, I just wanna know what I gotta do to win.
Put your house up for sale.
We'll see what we can do, see if we can figure something out.
That's not a winning thing.
I know, but.
Well, I know it isn't, and I'm not that kind of person to begin with. But obviously, we got one that wasn't brought up right and thinks he owns the world and can do whatever he wants and doesn't care how it affects other people. Doesn't know the meaning of social norms.
But, yeah, thanks, John. Anybody else with something for public comment? Anita, I remember you had your hand up next. Go
I
ahead.
just have a question for you. On the ordinance that you're amending, and I don't know anything about this, is it different in the village than it is in the township, that you need to have a public hearing and it needs to go to the county for
update our
review?
ordinances, we don't have it, correct? The way I understand it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We updated ordinances still has.
Okay, so then we can't do that. I'm still learning a lot of this stuff.
So before you update an ordinance, we have to say that we're updating the section. It has to go in the newspaper and then it'll be effective on the 7th day or something
Okay,
like
I
that.
misunderstood and I thought when we're just making an amendment like this, we didn't have to.
No, any amendment
Okay,
for
no,
ordinance.
So
that's
do you
fine.
have to have a public hearing for that?
So actually, I think we're just approving the verbiage, and then after this verbiage is approved, I planned on, sending it off to the attorney to make sure it's legal, and then finding out, we can just publish a tidbit of it and make it for public view. But that needs to all still happen. So right now, we're just approving the verbiage.
So I would rather admit fault and take the blame that that's not how I worded it, or whoever did, and just redo it, that is what we're doing, is accepting the verbiage and continue the process, just so
Yeah.
it's proper. Anything else? Okay, we'll do that when we're done with public comment, I don't want to interrupt you guys. Anybody else? She had her hand up first.
Pigeon. Just a real quick comment about the campfires. I live near Mel, and I will attest to, there's somebody in our neighborhood that's burning garbage.
Yeah, we know, and that's kind of what brought it.
Okay.
I've
Because
actually
if-
called Jeff down with the fire department to have him put that fire out a few times.
They've
It
been
was,
billed,
it was done again yesterday, last night.
they've been billed from the fire department. Bill has wrote tickets, he sent them citations that are in the court. We talked about this last meeting, but I don't think you were able to
I
make it.
wasn't here.
A couple of citations this spring, come to find out, they forgot about them over there.
Okay.
At
Go
the
figure
courthouse.
stuff.
At court.
Leaving
They're
the property,
trying to
they've been
figure
cited,
out how to clean
we
this
cited
up.
them
It's
in
just
March on the
ridiculous, but-
property, and we're still in court with it,
Okay.
so.
Okay, then just one other comment. We're getting close to the elections, and I've been hearing all kinds of really negative rumors going around town. And
Mhm.
again, I know they're rumors. I've not been able to pinpoint anything, but there's a few that I wanna stand on notice that I may come to some of you and ask you to your face, did you say this to this person?
Mhm.
Because if you did, then I'm gonna make it public that everybody knows you did that,
Mhm.
okay? We need to just keep it, I mean, it's an election, guys. Everybody's got their right to have their signs in their yard, everybody's got the right to say what they need to say,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to get ugly.
There ain't no
Okay.
point of it.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Paige.
As I'm walking around campaigning, going off of Bev's comment, I've had several people complain about the house across from the elementary school.
Are
With
you
how,
talking about the one across from Carl?
yeah, my stepdad,
Yeah,
yes.
that's the one, don't wanna interrupt your time. Carl has talked to me, that's the one we're
Yes.
talking about.
Okay.
That has been stuck to the court and they did,
Okay.
so we're trying, you know.
Yeah, I was like, I've had several people complain about that one.
Hopefully with this new prosecutor, some things will change on this and we can get some stuff done. Cause it's ridiculous, you know, there are people around there that got nice houses. A lot of them people back around the Horseshoe Mill included,
Yeah.
Jeff lives back there. They shouldn't have to drive by that and see it, and I went there and put one of the fires out. The fire ring's about 3.5, 4 foot round. There's about a foot around it of walking space, and then there's nothing but trash that is
Yeah.
clear to the house, and they're gonna catch your house on fire.
The point we're at right now is, I gotta take updated photos, and then it goes to Roxanne, the attorney,
Mhm.
and there she applies for an order to have the village clean up the property and assess the taxes, because
Mhm.
they ignored every other ordinance and every other violation that they've defaulted on in court.
So we're trying.
That's fine, I just,
You got anything else?
yeah, and then, so, I know the village limits go to 131 and then go towards Indian Prairie. Is that where that stops on 131? Where does the
It
village limit stops?
I'm trying to remember. It would stop right at the bridge.
Okay, so I was also told by somebody, why isn't a property in the village limits on village water?
There's lots of.
There's lots of, my parents are in Village Water, and they live in the village on front of the road.
Okay, cause I was also told that that property needs to be looked at as well to be cleaned up
Mhm.
because of how packed it is that even the fire department couldn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody needs to drive down that way and look as well, because I've had people express their concerns about that property as well.
That's right there, shows you where the village limits.
I just didn't know how far it actually went.
Yeah, it shows you right
past.
down the bottom corner there.
Yeah, okay.
Then it goes up 131. The dividing line is the center of 131. Goes up to Dickinson, center line of Dickinson, south, all the way to Kalamazoo Street, and then it does some weird jogging that way and down this way.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know how far that way it went.
Anything else?
Yeah, so I am running and I have been told by several different people that some members on the village council received my petitions to
Hold
run
on.
for,
Can I interrupt you? I know what you're talking about, and I've heard rumor that somebody from up here is gonna talk about this. But I would prefer that it don't get brought up in here, because as soon as somebody from here says something, we're gonna quit the meeting. But you're open, if you're comfortable saying it, then say it, but this, to me, this isn't the forum to do it. I don't, you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
I won't let anybody from here do it, but I guess it's your thing, so if you wanna say it, but.
Yeah, I have no issues, I'm
Okay.
open. But I've had several people tell me that members of the board have got my petition to run for office and have been questioning the people that signed my form to run for office on why they signed it. And I don't think that's right. I've also been informed by 2 other people that a member on the council told them that their thing they brought to the council will not be approved if they didn't take my sign down. And I don't think that's right either. I'm also running, and yes, I have a past. And yes, I have a misdemeanor that will be off of my record in June of next year, completely off. I've never been in trouble before that, and never after that. And if you want to look at the court paperwork for that, I will gladly show you. It all happened way in my past, and it wasn't even my fault. So I'm gonna clear the air right now. It will be off of my record before June of next year, and I'm well aware that somebody was gonna mention it tonight as well. But I am here to state that I'm an open book. If you wanna know, I will ask it and answer it. And then there's also people that have said that I am running an illegal daycare, which I am not. I am only watching my nieces and my nephews. I have 5 sisters. Every single one of them have kids. We all, 4 of us, because I include myself, live in a 3-block radius in White Pigeon. My one sister has 6 kids. My other one has 4, and the other one has 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I watch. The state has came in and verified it. They've talked to my sisters. DHS has came in and verified it. So I would appreciate if the rumors that I've been told people from the council are starting would stop. That is all I have to say.
Okay. Well, I hope they do. If it is, please deal with that crap.
Hey,
Shereen?
you know, this gentleman that was talking about the noise,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not everyone works Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Some people work second shift, some people have to work on the weekends. So maybe you could look at putting some, like, a quiet time in an ordinance. Like, I know after 9 o'clock, you know, music off, whatever it is, people running their motorcycles up and down the street at midnight.
So we have that stuff, but he is complaining about between, he said noon to 2, but I was told from 11 to 3 o'clock, during the middle of the day is when he's
Right,
complaining.
I understand that.
And
But I was also told, that we didn't have an ordinance as well when I had an issue in the past, and that's in the past, okay, but there are things happening like at midnight, and like people like to go to be in bed by 9 o'clock sometimes, or 10 o'clock.
Mhm.
On the weekends, I have shows, so I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and run off to a show. And there are motorcycles and ATVs and everything running up and down my street till midnight.
I sat down the road the other day, and I know they weren't on the street, they were on that property on Elkhart, going around and around, and I sat down the street with my lights off, waiting for them to get on the road, and they never did. They went basically like around by that back barn, up to the sidewalk, and they drove around that until like 9 o'clock. Is that the group of people you're talking about?
Yes, but I've seen them several times on the street, several times.
Well,
And then it was posted on the Facebook site on White Pigeon, there's some motorcycle running up and down Peck Street.
motorcycles can't, the four-wheelers can be on the street because they passed an ordinance last year to allow golf carts in.
Well, there was a motorcycle running up and down with no lights, like at 10 o'clock at night.
I know,
on Peck
I know the
Street.
guys are down there a lot. And
I can tell you
Levin
who
said
it is
down there
on
as
Peck
well.
Street.
What's that?
I said, I can tell you who it is on Peck Street. They don't live on Peck Street. They live on Laird.
You live on Peck?
No, I live on Laird.
Oh, you have, okay. Anyways, maybe something to look into, a quiet time. for
I'm not
people.
against looking into something, seeing what we can add, this and that, but like I said, I just walked by the one time, I walked the farthest on the road, the farthest away from his property, on his property line, and I could barely hear it. It's, my grandpa used to say you're picking fly crap out of pepper, and that's exactly what he's doing on that when I walk by. In the middle of the day, I guess that's all I
I
have to
guess
say. Really.
we should be more friendly to our neighbors and respect our neighbors.
Across the country we should be, but
Yes.
honestly, you're never gonna. I
But
don't
you'll
know.
always have a few
But the problem,
people,
Shereen, the problem is that you can't legislate morality, you can't legislate care for your neighbor.
I understand that.
And we, I mean, it states in the ordinance that, for example, like fireworks, you have to be done by 11 o'clock. So these kind of things aren't addressed in ordinances until they become an issue, then we say, hey, we may need to address this. So just because it's not there doesn't mean that we don't care. We just haven't got to that point yet.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we take that kind of thing seriously, but there again, what's okay for one person may not be okay for somebody else. It's a gray area that is very difficult for legislation and for ordinances and things to broach, because once you start going down that road, then you have to do everything. And I mean everything.
well, I'm just saying
I-
that,
I'm not trying
I'm
to
just saying that we
discount you.
should all be
Right, but
respectful to
all I'm
one
saying is that
another.
we-
And
it-
obviously, these people,
Right.
they're his neighbors, are not very respectful to
Correct.
him. And you can see the very stress that this has caused this man, that he doesn't even wanna go home. And so, you know, we should be human
And
about that.
Right,
and
but there's
kind
certain steps
to
we
him.
have to go through in order to be able to do it correctly. We
Right.
can't just arbitrarily just go over that guy's house and say, by God, you're gonna stop doing this, that, and that. We can't do that. We
Well,
have to
thank you
do
for your
steps.
time. I have something to attend, so
Okay.
thank you so
Thanks
much.
for coming. Anybody else have public comment? Okay, we're gonna close the public comment section. Contact up, sorry, people. Committee reports, we'll go to start with Bill.
You identified our fire ordinance, complaints, 155 from the audit, 22 citations. That's it.
Okay, Daniel?
Yes, we had the ambulance meeting last month. And, as of now, every EMT position is filled, including, life care. Only 4 or so paramedics short, there are some in the pipeline. And there also are a number of people who just enrolled, and those will be through the system by 12/25 with the first part, then they just have their state testing afterwards. So we're not only full, but we're gonna be able to backfill just in case of losses. Lights and siren percentage is 3.8. The goal to be under is 5%, so they try not to use the lights and sirens unless it's absolutely necessary. We're well below the state requirement for that. NEMSCO has free training on airways, and only 50 in the country were able to get this free training, and our group, Life Care, was able to secure this. So we are the only one in the state to get this free training for our EMTs and paramedics. They're working on the budget for next year, should be done by the end of September, or by the end of this month, and presented to the board in November. So our contract is up May 3rd, it'll be a 3-year contract, so when we were talking about expenses and things, that contract is 3 years, so again, when I get that, I'll bring it in so everybody can see how much, the expenses have increased over the last 3 years. And, there's, volunteer firefighters, there's homeless encampments being found that homeless are setting booby traps and other things. It's being discussed legally is how the volunteer firefighters, the squatters are lighting fires and leaving trash, and ambulances are being called out in fire department, and they're literally being attacked in some cases, when they go out there. Well, yes, well, not necessarily in Pigeon, but in Sturgis. Yeah, so, they're trying to figure out, I mean, there's spikes left out, there's verbal abuse, feces being thrown at them while they're out there, and anything you can imagine, so, there are foot traps, everything else, so, that's in the process of being addressed and trying to figure out how we can legally do something while protecting our volunteers, or our ambulance people.
Anything else?
That's it.
What do you got, Mel?
Nothing.
Nothing? Ted? Lacey? Alan? Jeffrey?
I've been in touch with Brown from Decker and different stuff to get clarity on the insurance, and there's nothing, I mean, there's some stuff that I could leave behind for people to read, but it's an ongoing process.
Okay. Have something better next year. Jonathan? Chadwick?
No, 3 surface repairs, 2 more low flows. We did have a main break on Hodgson yesterday. Done maintenance to the lawnmowers, maintenance to the 250 and the 2500. Leaf truck's ready to rock and roll. Leaf vac is getting in for maintenance, and 2 more services on the schedule for next week.
Is Shoesmith on that?
Yes, she's one, and then the other one will be over on company. And then for those projects that we did last week and then this week, waiting on Nibla to see when they're making surface to fill those holes back in, so.
Okay. I only got a couple quick things here. I wanted to bring up the community cleanup thing again. I reached out to a couple people here for getting pricing on a dumpster. I'm not sure what size of a dumpster to get, a rather large one. As we discussed at the last meeting, should have something by next month so we can go into next spring. I'm still not against getting together and maybe doing some helping some old people or anybody, I shouldn't say old people, I thought. Again, I shouldn't say, I mean everybody, that was, trying to help some people out yet this fall, we're coming into leaves and whatnot. If anybody's got any ideas, even from the public, write them down, drop them off in the payment box, we'll look at them, or I will. Hours of meetings, this is kind of a hot topic sometimes. I know Daniel especially, myself, half the year. I don't like the thought of 7 o'clock, but I don't really like 5:30 either. Is anybody okay with moving it to 6?
That interferes with the school board meeting, and I like attending that one.
Do what?
I said that interferes with the school board meeting, and I like attending that one so I know what's going on as well.
No, I get that, and I wanna do what's best for everybody, but we can't just not change it for one person, you know what I'm saying? wouldn't start, we don't even have to do it tonight, think about it, we'll come back to it next month. Because we can't start it until January anyway, because our meetings already have been approved and posted everywhere for the rest of 2024, so think about it. I know, John, we won't talk about it much, I'm waiting for a couple things to change, but, a calling system, like, I know some people here would know that the school has, I think that's through Honeywell, for alerts and messages. He's got some pricing on it, but I wanted to find out that, so right now, I use this for example, our weather siren, we only have one in the village. And I don't even know if you can hear that at your house, can you?
We're looking at doing some grants, trying to find out, a guy looking at possible grants for White Pigeon, Township, Montville, they wanna get on board with it, about possibly doing some more.
Okay, no,
so-
and if we're gonna do that, I don't know why we wouldn't.
Right.
Because I know there is still parts of the village, we don't need a whole lot here, but I think that system is fairly inexpensive per year. And you know, you could use it for more than that, but I was just using that for instance, you know, we could put everybody on it, if we could piggyback together, save money for everybody. So next month.
Contact the school, because I know coaches and other things would like to have that as well for weather alerts and things like that. So they-
Yeah, we would
they
put a
may
thing out
yeah,
to have,
they
so.
may kick in some money for it.
We'll talk about that more next month. And then the only other thing I got on my list real quick, let's talk about it real quick again, is bring up the marijuana establishment. We need to get a small group together so we can start talking more about this, because I have a list of everything and I'll share that with everybody. But we need to come and decide what and how many of each in this and what we want. Because there's, correct me if I'm wrong back there, there's so many different licenses for recreational sales, distribution, processing, there's just a whole bunch of them and whatnot. My thoughts were is, you can't do just one facility, say you have a recreational sales place, you can't just do one, but, so long story short, I think we should do 2 recreational facilities. I know some people aren't for it, some people are, but I'd rather be proactive, because someday somebody, it's already been tried, and they were this far from having it approved.
It's coming up.
Yeah, so I'd rather be proactive and help ourselves out. We do get money for it, no mistake, so.
According to what's in here, we can't stop it if we don't want one in here.
If they put it on a ballot, you can't stop it.
Can't stop it.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what they
It's
did.
enough to get on the
They
ballot.
had, we only needed 29 signatures and they had over 150.
We didn't have to.
76 were approved is what they said at the Montville meeting.
Okay, I don't remember the numbers, but it was well over what they needed. And they only had like 2 little areas, in there that got it denied, but it's gonna happen. And they're gonna tell us what we have to do, so it's just being proactive. So just keep thinking about it, we'll have more information next month. I would like to do that actually. Teresa? Al?
I don't care. I'll be on it. I'm fine with that.
You've been doing a lot of reading on it.
And Mel, okay, that'd be good. That's all I got. Only one other thing, we're gonna go back and fix my little goober up here, is I wanna make a motion to approve the verbiage of this and send it off to our attorney for approval.
Okay.
I'll make that motion. Seconded by John, we'll do roll call real quick.
Mr. Hostetler?
Yes.
Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Mr. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
And Mr. Wagner?
Yes. That is all I got. I'll entertain a motion for an adjournment. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you.